Jack, can you?
Mr. Utter.
Here.
Mr. Wicker.
Here.
Here.
All present.
We do have a quorum and we can start the meeting. The first item on the agenda is to consider the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held March 5th, 2015.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Mr. Coyle.
Yes.
Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
Mr. Mason.
Here, yes.
Mr. Wicker. Mr. Utter.
Yes.
Unanimous.
The second item on the agenda is to consider approval of the 21st Century Grant Support Program and Building Lease.
Thanks, Ron.
Motion.
Second.
It's over here.
Mr. Mason.
Yes.
Mr. Utter.
Yes.
Mr. Wicker.
Yes.
Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
Mr. Coyle. Unanimous.
Thank you, Robert.
The third item on the agenda is to consider the approval of the purchase of a backup pump for the David R. Hergen building.
I thought we'd be reassured this year.
What we have there is a situation that we currently can cause damage to the building from flooding. We don't have a backup pump, basically, is what.
Talk for the spring out there.
You're talking about the spring hooks to the
Parallel with each other, so if one doesn't cycle, the other one automatically will, or
That's
is
the
it
way it
just-
currently is, but if one of those go out, I mean,
we
that
don't
thing,
have a,
we don't have a backup and it can't.
That's for the French drains, I think is what they call it.
It
It runs pretty much all the time. doesn't it?
runs every day.
If you remember when we built that, remember that stream?
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Utter.
Yes.
Mr. Mason.
Yes.
Mr. Coyle.
Yes.
Mr. Bishop. Mr. Wicker.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Item number 4 is to review the rough draft of the 2015-16 Marion County Detention Center budget. I know Barry's here. You all got a packet. If you've read that, it's a pretty thorough budget and also some other items in there that I think Barry wants to discuss with us. So.
Yeah. The numbers, I mean, on the budget, just crunched it down as tight as we could, held things back. But it's just the cost of operating the jail is actually, there's one section in there that kind of shows the 7-year comparison, what we were paying 7 years ago versus what we're paying now. And I guess it's a general increase on expenses like what you see at your household, anywhere from food to medical costs to vehicle gas and regular hygiene, linen type items. All that kind of stuff is just up from years past. And it's actually been since about 2006 since the state did any kind of an increase on the per diem for the housing. That's the year that we got the $4 increase. And of course, Senator Higdon mentioned this past year about re-looking at that and trying to see if we can get legislation to look, Kentucky legislators to look at the per diem again on jails. So next year is a budget year, so all we can do is just hope to heck that they will, because it's about time that they do adjust it. Nonetheless, I got showing some stuff here about the water, Hampton's water heater, and then also there's a report that was completed. It's on the Green Initiative assessment. That'll be the page where it gets into the assessment, where it looks at the OIRs, the measuring of what your investment is versus what your return and your savings is. On the very far one of the SPP is number of years it takes to pay back your investment. And you can see there are some of the investments that are quite high on some of those items. And again, like I said at the last meeting, I think with us nearing the actual payoff of the detention center debt service, the thing that we need to do is look at the essentials. And of course, some of it isn't the green initiative, it's just maintenance. That would be the HVC, the water softener. But when you look at the water conservation, it's almost a no-brainer. When you look at a $63,000 investment on on water conservation that's estimated to give a return at $32,000 a year. I mean, that's pretty good return. Of course, you can see as far as utilities, well, I think one thing is laid out, it shows clearly in this report, is that water conservation is the biggest for Kentucky, because our gas and our electric bills our electric rates are not as high as it would be in New Jersey or Chicago or somewhere like that. But nonetheless, I think overall, this report here is prior to us getting some of our bids and some of those things in. Once we get that in, we'll go back to April the 2nd, and we'll open that. We'll have a plan, hopefully be able to review after that. The second meeting in April, have something proposed, a plan for 2015, and then we can, like some of the others, maybe LED technology changing, that I would think that we could hold off a year or so on it, because it's been just like solar. Solar hot water, even though it's got a 3.9-year estimated payback, it's just not, we're not at the spot in life right now to spend $136,000 to put solar heating and water. After once we have our debt service paid, it may be something we want to look at, because it benefits from those savings. So review that report. It's after you look at it, it's kind of self-explanatory on some of the green initiatives and stuff. Some of it, like again I said, the water conservation is easy to. I think it'd be something that we seriously need to consider, because of the payback is so. It comes back to us quickly, especially when that comes with when you're paying sewer bills on everything that goes through there. On the staffing, pretty much, I am going to move forward with replacing Captain Griffin's position, putting the case manager back in on the 100 block, filling my booking vacancies, which is that's set for a while. And I wanted to do some adjustments with the staff salaries and stuff across the board, but there's actually no possible way that we could afford to do anything at this point. But I do want to start in on our entry levels. And as far as the correctional deputy, of course, we're on this regular state retirement for 27 years, not the hazardous. But do the starting salary at initial hire at $10.50. The 6-month benchmark be at $11.25, and the 12-month benchmark, and that would be that they completed whatever they have to know to that point, would be $12.05 an hour. So it's not totally competitive with our industry around here, but it is competitive with the sheriff department and the local PD. So, and then after that, we just go to regular CPI. Numbers, not a lot of changes, but a few changes on the staffing. Like I said, I'm going to move forward with replacing David Earl's position and putting my case manager back on the 100 walk. One thing you see, if you go back another couple more tabs back, it's got the 2014 talks about our community service and our litter abatement and some of the stuff we do across the county. If you look at some of that process and what we actually contribute back into in-kind labor force to the road department or whatever, city of Lebanon, it attributes to $528,000 in savings a year. So, all in all, we're the detention center operation is still giving well back to the county. So, and it's it's to the point that we got a lot of. It's not just the county government that's seeing it, but you got Browardville and Loretta and Raywick and St. Joe and all these fairground stuff. They depend on it. A lot of I'll tell you quick, if they couldn't, it would make a budget restraint on their operations. And then you go on to back to the next tab there, and we got on there the necessary capital expenditures. And kind of what we're looking at there to demonstrate out what we're gonna have, is what we see that we're going to have to spend, by the closeout of this budget, 214, 215. You know, the HVC, is gonna have to, will be addressed. The water softener treatment will be addressed. And then we've got a kitchen kittle that is down that has to be addressed. Now on the HVC, I talked with, of course, me and the judge and Kevin, county treasurer, went through the budget, went through some of the issues here. It probably, it's our look at HVC is look at possibly financing it for over a 3-year period or something, so we can still look at we still be able to hit that benchmark in 2018 of having the building, the debt service paid off on the building, and having the systems where you got your boiler just had been replaced this year, your HVC. So some of those elements of the operation will be in good working condition. So start reaping some of the harvest of having a building paid for. In the 2015-16 area, you see in the tab there, looking at the ozone laundry systems. And some of those systems, guys, again, they get into some savings, which is kind of hard not to look at, and specifically with the water and sewer stuff, that those systems we'll look at in the next budget year. The blacktop, we've taken that 18-year piece of blacktop about as far as we can take it. It's actually gotten pretty rough what is blacktop, and then of course we got staff on a gravel extended parking lot over there. So I talked with Tommy. Right now, my understanding is we do it ourselves. The county does. It's around $26,000 what it costs to blacktop that parking lot this year. That's something that's going to need to be done.
The new and old?
The new and old.
Yeah.
It's going to, body cameras, the actual cameras for the deputies, that's an investment we need to move forward in 2015-16. And then some upgrade on some communication radios. It's just one thing that's critical for your operation. They got to be able to communicate. So we got some systems we need to update and stuff on that. The very last is the green dollar sign and stuff on it. Is that going back to we're 2018, May 1st, 2018, the debt service is covered, so we will hit a great milestone and benchmark for our county. That our county, we had one fiscal court build the jail and another one pay for it, but it's we'll have that will be through full completion by then. So hopefully, then you're looking at $400,000 a year that we're paying out now for the debt service. So that'll be to the good. And if we get, surely in the next 3 years, we can lobby enough with the legislators, and it's time that the state look at doing a per diem increase. And I just, it'll be some fruitful years for us. I hope. It's hard to say that it wouldn't be. So anyway, this is the submit. Like I said, we got you all do your all budgets and finally get something approved by June. So hopefully we'll have by April the 2nd, we'll open up the bids on some of the green initiatives. Like I said, for right now, what I'm seeing, water conservation probably be about the biggest impact of money that we invest in.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Barry.
Very good.
I would like to get permission to maybe check into some financing for the HVAC system. There could be some money out there pretty reasonable.
Judge, I'll tell you what, I know when we financed other projects, we always obviously went to CAECO, which is always an option. But also, just like this facility, if you remember back that time, we looked at CAECO, but then we actually ended up working with our local banks.
Local banks, yeah.
So
I did actually mention that to,
We've made some contacts, but we need a hard number. Hopefully we'll have that in April on that. There's one other thing I don't know if we could maybe this year address it's just our vacation leave. I know it probably doesn't affect Tommy and them as much as it, or does me, because I've got a large operation that works 24 hours, 7 days a week, but vacation leave coming due in June instead of December. You know, where we have the use or lose. If it come due in June, like from the fiscal year from July 1st to June 30th, instead of being on that year, if we hit 2 holidays, I end up hitting 2 holidays in that month. And then you arbitrarily, you'll end up with a few folks sitting around with some time here and there, and you hate to say, well, it's too late now, you're gonna lose it, and so you try to get them all, to get them their leave.
So you're talking about instead of operating on a calendar year as we do now, operate on a fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
Well, let me ask you a question, Ms. County Attorney. You know, obviously with, whether it be the sheriff or the jailer or whomever, I mean, with a constitutionally elected officer, they can actually set their policies, so forth, as they so please. Right.
So would we have to do that, we'd have to do that with our policy and do it in June, when you all approve my policy in June, and then it would affect just my staff, so would that affect you all?
Now, the only issue you're gonna have is, all of this is tracked by the federal system, and it's not on fiscal year, it's on calendar year, so you're going to manually track all that by hand probably, or I mean, on the payroll software is not gonna track it on fiscal year.
All right, I'll talk with Joanne a little bit more with it, and then one other thing is when I'm doing the budget, looking through, and I know that, you know, I think that everyone at, you know, on a county level, sick leave, we ended up, last budget years, we spent $40,000 at my place alone on sick leave. And the sick leave is a very valuable thing, and, you know, as Joe Manuel said, it's one of those things, you know, vacation is earned, the sick leave is a privilege. But, you know, I don't know if we would one time consider, you know, I don't know, the state actually has where folks can use their sick leave at the end of their time towards their retirement. So they don't use sick leave. They try to save it and use it at the end. But I think what would happen there, if they had a year's worth of sick leave, then you'd have to pay a year's worth of their retirement.
Actually, I think for most of them, they have, I think it's maybe a 3-for-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or
Is
what is it, Jimmy?
It was a 1 for 3.
Yeah, 1 for 3. So for every 3 days of sick leave you have, you get 1 day counted towards your retirement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not going to pay out the full amount of.
Yeah, 'cause
I mean, but I'm sure I'm not the only one in the division. So, I mean, it's a lot of money that our county.
Well, and that's twofold, and we've looked at that, and actually, we addressed the, you know, with the vacation time and so forth. And one of the concerns, it's twofold, and you got to look at it from both ways. One is that we can hang on to it, okay, and then that could potentially apply toward their retirement. But on the other aspect of that is that when you pay those hours out, if an individual, for example, starts with the county today and at say $10 an hour, and in 20 years retires or 25 or 30, and they're making say $24 an hour, then what you've done is that basically you've bankrolled those days, and the sick days they had at $10, you're now paying every sick day at $24.
Yeah, they're basically getting day for day on a lot of them.
Well, yeah, so it says 1 for 3, but technically when you
Yeah.
figure it out, it's probably about closer to a 3 for 3 ratio.
Yeah, it's not
So-
far off.
So that's what you got to balance out.
It's kind of like the vacation time. It gets to be kind of like a mini 401k deal,
That's correct.
and we're trying to keep away from those things. Because they're actually basically an unfunded liability, really.
That's
They're
correct.
not budgeted.
I mean, you look at my shop, $40,000. I mean, I don't know what we're paying as a whole as a county, but, I mean, it's expensive.
Are you trying to say,
You're saying
are
you
you
paid
trying to
out.
say you've got too
I mean,
many?
it would be if, you know, some of the companies, of course, it's not a preferred thing. I wouldn't want to do it.
Are you trying to say you got too many employees? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm just saying they got some, they end up, like all the rest of them, they'll use that sick leave
I know.
efficiently.
drag in work when they're sick.
I know.
I did.
I don't know what kind of incentive.
On a no sick leave. I mean, some places don't do sick leave anymore.
Well, let me say this.
Not that we're
On
not
the
going to go
sick
there,
leave,
but some
and
places
again,
don't.
Here's the thing, is that, and again, I think I'm correct on this, but as the sheriff, as a county clerk, and so forth, as jailer, as a constitutionally elected officer, you can set your policy and so forth as you wish, but it has to come before the court and judge to be approved, okay? So if you want to gather that information, that's great. But in regards to that sick leave, you got to be careful there, because I know, for example, it cost us $40,000 last year, okay? And that's a lot of money. But at the same time, when you take that, and then we have to look at it short-term as well as long-term. And when you look at it from a long-term basis, it could very well cost even more than that, so. But if you want to get the information together, I'd say we're willing to listen to it.
Let me ask you a question on the sick leave issue. Of course, if I work for you and I take a sick day, somebody else covering overtime, are you counting the overtime that covers the time, or is you just counting actually the days off? So
Straight time.
If
You're
it costs
paid straight
40, if
time.
you're saying 40, it probably costs you 60 because it's time I have to cover.
I mean, for the ones that you have to replace.
Yeah.
So your 40,000 is figured on just straight, what I call straight time as far as
So we
as
know it's
far as when
it's
they
costing more
utilize
than
that
that.
sick time. So yeah, from an operational standpoint, you're right, because now you got to, what are you paying that other employee?
To cover that time.
I mean, for the ones you do, on my support staff, we don't.
Yeah.
We're able to do it, but on the security staff, you have to replace it.
And we've talked about this before. I know it's not a major issue, but, you know, it's kind of like equipment that you don't need. If you've got people, support staff that you're not using a lot, we're paying workers' comp, we're paying a lot of stuff on them. Ridge or roster of people you don't use.
What is the total number of sick days on an annual year, fiscal year, that an employee?
10 or 12.
12.
It's 10, I thought 10 was the number.
But you cannot, or did we, in regards?
Can we stop and, we couldn't
that's
stop
correct.
the accrual of them, could we?
I just said, it would be nice if we had an incentive so that they would want to bank it.
Well, and you know, there's a lot of good things about banking it. I know that other agencies utilize, and they let them bank it. They can use it if they've got it built up. For example, if somebody, God forbid, comes down with cancer or some type of illness, and let's say they've got 2 weeks of vacation, but yet, or 3 weeks of vacation, they've got a month's worth of sick time or whatever, you know, then they can use that. So there's a lot of advantages, a lot of ways. So, I mean, we just have to look at it and see what's best for the employee as well as the county. So, we need to look into that.
You know, the one thing on the sick leave deal, and I know how sick leave works, we need to be sick to use sick leave.
Say that again. I didn't
We
quite
need
catch
to
that.
be sick to use sick leave.
You need a doctor's statement.
Well, of course, our standard policies, like most standard policies, which is 2 days, I think it is, after, if you miss more than 2 days, you have to have a doctor's statement. I do know, for example, the city has a little different policy than us. I think that they've got it set up to where after you earn so many days, but then it maxes out and you drop. So, you know, that's something that we might want to look at, is just look at some of the other county governments, look at other agencies, governmental agencies, and see how they manage it, because we're not the first ones to go through this.
They're not reinventing the wheel.
Right, so,
There's somebody else that's done the same thing.
yeah.
But I'm looking to the incentive out on the thing.
You know, as far as the court, we've looked at the pay scales and all this stuff. We'll have to look at next budget time, some other issues as far as maybe caps and things.
Yeah, and you might want to get with your jail committee and sit down with them and review that. I think that'd be a good idea. That's Master Wicker and Master Masterson, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, and me. Well, take your time on that, all right?
You may be leaving one out there.
I was thinking you was on that committee.
I didn't think I got reappointed to that committee.
They say 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Okay. We have full faith in you, Barry. Go ahead.
Hey, Barry, back to the HVAC. Do you qualify being a I know they got incentives for certain efficiency stuff, you know,
Or
getting rebates and stuff?
Yes, they're applying for it.
Okay, I didn't know if it applied to a business, or I know local, or
Yeah, we are.
residential people can get rebates and this and
I
that.
don't know, but I mean, I know we're doing.
Something to do with that? Yeah. I
Barry,
figured
you
it would.
had many lookers?
Bid application, I think.
Had many people look?
Oh, yes. We got a few local and several on the outside. So it's got a lot of, the HVAC's got a lot of interest. I mean, 16 unions.
Yeah, that's good. That's what we need.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you,
Great,
Barry,
thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
That was a great audit there. That was a lot of information.
A lot of information.
I see a lot of small, I see a lot of small stuff on there that you could probably do in-house. I mean,
Yeah,
real.
on the
The roof
checking
insulation.
air,
Yeah,
air pressure, the fire.
yeah, I see.
Pretty simple
It was,
stuff.
it was a good audit, so we appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it, Judge.
Good deal.